A-Town.
Boom, boom, boom. There it is. Hey, yes, sir. Yes, sir. No. Come on, no one's even going to watch it to that part.
Let go. Hey, okay, I know I'm here to stay. Counting on my wins, so I can't play it safe. Play it safe, go cheese, best, get you out the way. Go hard, it's the only way to play. Let me say, I'm a trendsetter. I'm a go-getter. I'm a trendsetter.
Hello, welcome back to the Pawns on the Duck podcast. I am Jaxon Hasty.
I am Caleb Shoemake.
I'm Landen Rope.
And today we're going to start it off what we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, which is OU men's and women's basketball. Caleb, if you'd like to start there.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead. We'll start off with OU men's basketball because, both of them recently had a game. I don't know how many games the women have had so far in the past week since we recorded.
It's just the one.
But OU men's basketball, they played against Texas A&M last week. We did play them 3 weeks ago, and Godine dropped 40 or something like that. I don't remember. We talked about it last week, and that's not what we're here for. We lost the game. Happens. We go on, play A&M at A&M in their house. Moore scored 22. Godine played like P.J. Washington, like he plays against the Oklahoma City Thunder. If anybody knows, P.J. Washington is pretty bad until he plays the Thunder. He'll drop 25-plus points, maybe 10-plus rebounds. So Godine's decided to drop 24. No one else on the team scored more than 5 points, which that's terrible. Offense is just completely bottomed out going into the middle of this SEC play. And speaking of bottoming out, Jeremiah Fears, we lost by 7, and maybe if Jeremiah Fears didn't go 0 for 5 and 0 for 1 from the three-point line and 0 for 2 from the free throw line in his 15 minutes of play, maybe we could have won that game, But again, 0 points from who we kind of designate as our star player is kind of embarrassing. So, what are you guys' thoughts on his performance from that game?
I get it. He's a freshman, so he's young. Players can have, even the NBA, have down games, So, I'm not too worried about it if he has a bad game, but, at least a couple points would have been nice.
I was going to say, I understand bad games. But, whenever there are designated star player, for Shea, a bad game would be, 25 points, honestly. Let's be for real. 25 points, and we lose or something like that. But, for it to be our star player to, one, only shoot it 5 times, but then he missed every single shot.
Yeah,
that is not a terrible game. That's an atrocious game.
And Texas A&M already played us once, so they know how we play, right? So they know we like to give it to Fears. So they they probably played the best defense they could on Fears, but that left Godine open. The score hit the 24 he did.
It kind of goes back to the part is that our point guards weren't really the ones they were the one against A&M is seen that they like to facilitate the ball in the point guard position. We don't usually go out there and try to look to score. At least that's what we saw with Fears, even though, he shot 5 times, but he missed all of them. But then that's why he only played 15 minutes because then our other guy who we really like, who does that?
Jalen Moore and Dayton
Forsyth. He played very well in that game. He came in and played a big role.
Yeah, 22 minutes. He went 1 for 2 because, they really don't try to get him shots.
He's kind of what I kind of stated at one point. I can't remember. It was either our last podcast or the one before then, that they're probably going to start getting Forsyth the chance to knock down some shots, get him open opportunities. But as of right now, they're trying to just get him into the motion of the offense and run the offense through him whenever we can't through Fears. Whenever it wasn't working through Fears, that's why Forsyth played more than Fears did in that game, because we were able to find something that was working with Forsyth and just let it roll.
Also want to throw out, he did lead the team in rebounds this game, which again, another thing we're struggling with. So
literally got roasted today. Today we're playing Vanderbilt as we're recording this. Which last time we checked, we were winning by 15?
Yeah, we're killing them right now. So by the time this comes out, if we have lost, there will be some crashing out. But so far we've looked pretty good. I think we've only held A&M, or not A&M. We're playing Vanderbilt today it's February 1st, 2025. They've only scored, I think, is it 8 points? 8 points in this second half so far, 9
Something
minutes
like
in.
that.
We're up 60-48. Forsyth, like he just mentioned, Landen just mentioned, he's been making an impact even
How many points
more.
does he have right now?
He has...
He has 5, but he has 3 steals.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I saw he made a corner in that run where we started to come back. He made a corner 3 that helped a lot, and then he had a steal right after that, and he really, I think he was a big part of us going up 12 right now, 12,
Yeah.
and getting the momentum is the word I was
Yeah,
trying to think.
he's a hustle player,
Yeah.
and he's showing it out there right now. But we'll talk about that next game, hopefully, or not next game. We'll talk about that next podcast, hopefully when we have won. And Vanderbilt is ranked there, 24th.
24th. They've been playing very well this year.
They beat 2 AP top 10 teams. They beat Tennessee, I think, and is it Kentucky?
Yeah.
They've been on a roll. So the fact that we're kind of putting BTA right now is
We were favored in this game, not by much, but we were.
We were favored.
They started out as the favorite. They were 1.5 point favorites, but now, of course, like you said,
I think we were 1 point favorites, or
I think it was
something like that.
2.5. I don't know
2.5.
why. What shifted? Like they were like
home court advantage at Lloyd Noble.
They saw
really.
that we have. Did they not see like 100 fans that we have?
Hey, it's 150
Yeah.
this time. That's probably why.
There
Solid.
you go. And so, I mean, yeah. Again, like if we can keep this play up, like what we're doing right now, based off this game, and kind of against A&M, because again, star player fears like that's again like you guys were saying, it's a bad game. Like kick it off the side. I think right now he has like 15 points right now against A&M.
13.
He's
Vanderbilt.
yes, yes, thank you, Vanderbilt. He's picking it up. So as long as Fears can keep consistent, good scoring play, while also another big thing that he's, of course, the turnovers, but I don't think I mean, that's going to happen again. We've talked about this multiple times, like freshman mistakes. You're going to turn over the ball. It's just how it works. Like your handles, they'll eventually get built up to the point where they're unstoppable. Shea, for example, started off his rookie season, I believe he had averaged like 3 turnovers a game and probably less minutes. I mean, he's doing the same right now, but it's not because of his handles this time. It's just because he's actually the only one being able to make the ball, considering Chet Holmgren is still on the bench. But we'll get to that next week. We need somebody that can put some elbows into people's ribs. That's another big issue, as I said earlier.
We just can't. Like, we literally got roasted today on national
like you said.
television, saying they're like, one of the big things in this conference is being able to get rebounds, and Oklahoma is unable to do that. And I was like, as we're winning by 15, but I mean that still has nothing to do with it. We just absolutely suck at rebounds, and the thing that we are absolutely terrible at is offensive rebounds. It is not even the fact just getting the rebound. It's just we're just unable to box out.
I think what angers me the most is that Godwin was like top 20 in the nation through our first like 15 games rebounding wise.
Mm-hmm.
Dude was averaging like 13 rebounds a game. He had like, I think it was
Now,
9
if he gets like 5 rebounds, that's a good game for him,
at this point.
which is crazy.
He had like 9 defensive rebounds, I believe, and like 4 offensive. Like he was leading the nation in offensive
Mm-hmm.
rebounds at one point. Like he was top 5. And now he's just like gone.
Well, he's our only big man, so like he has to get every rebound basically. Besides Northweather, he has to get every rebound when he's on the court because he's never really on the court with Northweather. And I feel like compared to the SEC type of centers that we go against, he's not the biggest and strongest or toughest out there. Like he can get soft sometimes. I feel like he does. Since he's smaller, he has to like not foul sometimes, but like I think he's afraid of accidentally fouling because that can happen a lot when everybody else is bigger and stronger than you.
Yeah, we get put in. He gets put in foul trouble a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
so does
I literally just got a message from my buddy, and he said, "Someone tell Mosier we need a big man."
Yep. No. We're
that
there
sums
for
up
that.
OU basketball. That is it right there.
There it is, right there. Just exactly what. Why did I just send him a heart? Oops.
Ew.
Whoa! What's up?
Ooh. That was a
Dude,
little.
where's the laughing emoji? Lord have mercy. Sorry. We're cooked.
Anyways,
Anywho, so
woo.
the other.
Big woo.
Boom, 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 boom. Okay, sorry. Okay, so now that we've talked over some men's basketball, now we can go on over to some women's basketball.
Yeah, women's basketball. So they recently played a game against LSU
When was that? Yesterday? 2 days ago?
I think it was
a couple days ago.
Tuesday.
So I don't know the date.
No, Thursday.
Taco
Oh,
it was Thursday.
Tuesday.
It was Thursday.
Tuesday scared me now.
Okay.
Well, it was the only SEC game in women's history where both teams scored 100-plus points. We
was-
lost
In
107
regulation.
107.
in regulation.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Because there's overtime games where
They
they
definitely
both, yeah. But just want to clarify that.
Thank you. We lost 107 to 100. Liz Scott ejected within the first 3 minutes of the game. Thought that was pretty hilarious. We don't have a video on standby, and
But
that's okay.
I was watching that game, and the girl that got ejected for LSU pushed down Reagan Beers, and then Liz Scott came and got in her face, and they got in a scuffle, and so both of them got ejected. Luckily, Reagan Beers didn't get ejected because they were kind of like,
Dude, Reagan Beers was just trying to fix her headband the whole time in the video.
Yeah.
She's just over here just... like, she's trying to fix something. Our
Yeah.
teammates are over here trying to throw haymakers, I guess.
well,
so.
she's got to keep that Naismith National Player of the Year.
You gotta keep it toned down.
And I mean, she pretty much did that. I mean, 8 for 8 from the field. She went 4 for 6 from the free throw line. She scored 20 points.
I mean,
That's the math.
Played a
She
really
doesn't
good
shoot
game.
threes.
yeah, she just stays in the paint and shoots over all the other short girls.
Yeah, but our defense is absolutely horrid.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
and what
107.
what I was literally about to say, but I saw that you had it written down here, is that it just seems like we have been unable to just stop people from making 3-pointers against us. That has just been an atrocious thing that just seems to always, it just hurts us in any game.
It's just like we're due to give up like at least 50% from the 3-point line every game. It's like people, the teams we play understand that we have a force in the paint, a couple forces in the paint. So they're like, well, I guess we have to use the perimeter. And I think obviously the evolution of the game right now is like big men, big women are bigs in general are going out and they're learning to shoot the 3-point ball. And that's the thing with Reagan Beers. Obviously, she's not athletic. Well, she's athletic, but she's not as athletic as other the bigs you see nowadays are like 6. Well, let's talk women's basketball. So 6 foot 8, 6 foot 8, 6 foot 7,
Yeah, I
but
guess,
they're
yeah.
like 200 pounds. Like, so they can run around Reagan Beers in circles. But if obviously they go into the paint, like there's no need, like you're going to get absolutely demolished by Reagan Beers. So they use the 3-point line to their advantage, and it's just been killing us all year.
Yeah. I would like to say in that LSU game, we were down 24. So it seems like it happens with both men's and women's basketball where we go down by a lot and then come back and make it within a 10-point game and then just can't get over that hump of taking the lead.
Yeah, which is okay. I mean,
it's better than losing by 24, I guess, but
yeah, but also it's kind of like football games where you see teams win by a touchdown, but you see that the other team that lost by 7 scored a touchdown with
scored
like 10
21
seconds.
in the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, like it's not anything big, but we'll move on from that. Peyton Verhulst, I don't know if you say her name like that. I'm sorry, Peyton, if you're out
Verhulst,
there. But you're balling. She's balling. 26 points. She's pulling from the 3-point line. She's been our only action on the 3-point line.
At
And
least our only consistent, when she shoots it, almost every time she shoots it, you're like, that's probably going in. That's probably going in.
I feel like she hasn't gotten the credit that she deserves, especially since Reagan Beers is here now.
Yeah.
Because she won Big 12 Newcomer of the Year last year?
Beers or Skylar Van. We'll talk about that. Skylar Van in a second.
Different.
But Volhus she was one of the top 3-point shooters in the Big 12 last year. Also want to give a shout out to Lexi Keys. I think she came from maybe Oklahoma State. Don't count me to that. That's probably wrong. But she's also one of our 3-point shooters, kind of put her on the perimeter, give her the ball. I think she went 3 for 3 last game from the 3-point line. So I think we're scoring 100 points. Yeah. There's no issue with our offense. Offense has been putting it down all year long. We've been able to, except South Carolina, because when shots don't go in, that's going to happen to you. But, what do you think we can do defensively that could potentially, maybe put us back in top 25? We're top 25 right now, but maybe even, top 10.
Kind of what we were exactly talking about is just figuring out a way to get our defense that works, but as well just limit, not even let them shoot the 3-pointers that they want, just be able to get a handout, because it seems like sometimes whenever they've been getting the shots off, they've been completely wide open. It has even some of them. Of course you're going to have some where they just hit a tough shot, your hands in their face. But it seems like a lot of the 3-pointers that they have hit against us have been from backside actions where they get completely wide open. So I think there's just something we need to fix within our defense to stop the backside actions from being able to just flare to that corner and get a skip pass. Because I think whenever I watched the last quarter of this LSU game, they hit 3 or 4 just flare to the corner threes that I saw coming, but of course I'm watching it from my couch, so of course I see the action happening way better. But they ran the same thing 3 or 4 times, and they just switched the side each time they did it, and it worked every single time. And it just seemed like our defense was even trying to even switch up anything to stop it.
Sounds like our intramural team. Sorry,
that's very true.
Sorry, that I just had to throw that out there. But if we can get back in the groove. And like you said, defensively, if we can stop the corner threes, which has also been probably the biggest contribution to why our perimeter defense is getting shot down so much, is because they drive in, we lose them, and then it just becomes a scuffle at the bottom of the.
Our help defense has been good, but our help defense is what screws us, because whenever they drive in almost pretty easily. It's almost like we want them to drive in, which is fine. Because of who we have down there. But then if you're going to try to help in and trap, the other person has to sink down to the person that you were at so you can. But again, that goes exactly to how they were getting these corner threes, is because our help defense is just, it's not helping us. It's the best way to put it.
Yeah, it's. There's no other better way to put that. We just got to figure that out. So,
because if we're down, when we were down 24, if we were able to be down 24 and come back and only lose by 7, that shows you that we were able to figure something out along the lines of on the offensive side, of course, but then as well the defensive side, because for us to be able to get that, we had to get stops. So if we were able to get stops throughout that time, then we figured something out. So, hopefully we can just keep on going from that.
I'm trying to pull up the game, sorry. Because I'm trying to see how much they scored in this, LSU scored in the second half collectively. Because
I think they just need to figure out sooner, quicker in the game, of course. Well, that's what you try to do every game. Because if anybody doesn't know this, women's basketball is 4 quarters and men's basketball is only 2 halves. So during that quarter break I feel like is another chance to. They scored
24 in the fourth quarter.
Compared to what?
They had 20 in the first quarter.
They had 20 in the first, but then they went 32-31.
So it seems like we start to slow down second quarter and then coming out of half, but then it's we start the game pretty well. That's usually what I see.
Because in first quarter we were up 23-20, at the end of the first quarter. And then the next quarter, they scored 32, and we scored 19.
Yeah, so offense gets stagnant going into halftime, but then we figure it out past that. It's just the defense needs to figure it out quicker, obviously. Like you said, like the only way to kind of pick up our basketball team where we are and shoot ourselves into that contention again. I mean, we're 4-4 in conference play, okay? Like, that's not bad considering the SEC women's basketball, like, everyone's in the top 15, it seems like.
And it's not like we're getting, like, humiliated out there in our losses. Like, they're all competitive games against teams that are going to be competitive later on in the road.
Just don't watch the South Carolina game, please.
Yeah.
Let's just
not talk about
that. Like,
What are you supposed to do? You just got to lay on the floor and pray someone comes and picks you up, man.
From, what year was it? Whenever...
You're good.
okay.
But
As he was saying,
when Stephen Curry in the All-Star game, whenever he was just laying in the middle of the court, that's what basically
when Giannis was running straight towards him.
That's basically what we had. That's basically what we needed to do.
For context, Steph Curry is I think 6 foot, maybe 200-pound man, and Giannis is a 6'11", 285-pound man.
6'2".
He's like 6'2".
Well, anyways, Giannis is way bigger than him. So, why would you? Okay, so Curry proceeded to lay on the ground. But anyways, that's not what we're talking about. I think this pretty much wraps up what we're kind of talking about in both the basketball sections. There's one game for each, so there's very little to talk about. But Landon, if you want to go ahead and talk about, this is a first for a while.
We finally have some news about what we're doing on the defensive side of the ball for football, because we've just been waiting, trying to see what happens, because of course we didn't get the guy who we were pursuing at that point. And where'd he go? He went to
Penn State.
He went to Penn, right?
Yeah, Jim Knowles.
So of course,
he's from Pennsylvania.
So we didn't get the guy that we were looking for at that point, but I think we got hopefully what we were secondly looking for, I guess. Yeah. I don't know exactly. If I'm being 100% honest, these are the first times I'm hearing about these guys. Looking this up.
So basically,
the only reason why I know of Nate Drilling is because he was the interim at, what was it, Utah State?
Something like that.
And he turned them around a little bit. They were like 127th in defense, and then they were like 34th this last year. So that's a good sign but I don't know if he had like 100% in like the reason that happened, if he was a big part of that or not. But it's a good sign that he was a part of it at some point. And so maybe
that he contributed to putting that defense where it is now.
Yeah. So maybe just make our defense the same or better.
He definitely must have if OU's going to go out here and offer him.
That is true. We don't just hire anybody.
Yeah. Unlike some team.
We'll get there.
We'll get to that later.
But so Oklahoma is finalizing a deal. I got this from a website. Finalizing a deal that Nate Drilling will become a position coach on the defense side of the ball, and that let's see here. Focus, because he's mainly going to be on the linebacker position. I think he's interior, and then we as well got who's the other guy that we got? Wes Goodwin.
Yeah, the Arkansas State.
For the defensive.
Wes Goodwin's from Clemson.
Clemson, yeah.
Mm-hmm. He took over Vern Venables after he departed, and then he also coached in the NFL. Don't know if it was a long time, but based on what I'm seeing, like,
he has the experience.
Yeah, he has the experience, but I want to put this in perspective that going from almost getting a guy like Jim Knowles to a guy like Wes Goodwin is like if Oklahoma went from Trey Young to Isaiah Cousins. Like, you know who Trey Young is, and he's one of the best of all time. And then you go to Isaiah Cousins, which is like, he's okay.
It can work.
Who is he? Like, you can make that work. You just we'll have to see what happens. It depends on really how we're trying to use Wes Goodwin. I don't know if we're trying to use him like a Zach Alley, like where he was there to make plays, but not call the plays. Obviously, Len, if you want to talk about Brent Venables calling the plays, go ahead with that.
Yeah, I mean, really not much to it, but I mean, from what I have seen is that it is going to be Venables basically being our defensive coordinator. He's going to be calling the plays, and he brought these guys in to help with the linebacker position to get them ready. Because I mean, of course he was a linebacker, but now he's taken on the defensive coordinator position / role, even though he's already our head coach. But now he's just adding on to what all he wants to do here. But I still don't know how I feel about it. I mean. We know how good he is as a defensive coordinator. We've seen it, but I just don't know if somehow in a way him being the head coach and then as well having to be the defensive coordinator, could it conflict in some way?
In the first year he was here, he was the defense. He did do the play calling again, and then he gave it to Zach Alley, and I think the defense got better in the second year, but it was still a really good defense that first year, especially the year before, where we didn't even really have a defense, to be honest, because Venables wasn't here and we didn't have a true defensive coordinator.
Alex cringe.
So
that was terrible.
So I don't mind that he's doing it. I'd rather him just be the head coach and have a defensive coordinator call the plays like Zach Alley, but we all know he left. So I feel like at some point after this year or like a year or two, he could give it to someone to do the play calling. But this next year, I don't mind it because it wasn't bad the first year.
So let's go back to 2020. So Lincoln Riley just left. Takes about half the staff with him. We hire Brent Venables. Your expectations then compared to your expectations now, what has changed?
They're a lot higher, my expectations now, because he's already been here 2 years.
You say they're a lot higher, but it seems like you're still trying to give him so much leniency. Why is that?
Well, it's just no. I mean, if he doesn't get 8 wins, I'd just say he's out of here, right? But his first year, I'd be like, okay, if he wins 6 games, it's like it sucks, but it's whatever. It's his first year.
Yeah. So, I guess what I was trying to say, for you guys is. He came in and had 6 wins. Everyone put that off. It's your first season. That's going to happen. Bob Stoops did that and then came back the second season and won a national championship. Are your expectations, we're 5 seasons in to the Brent Venables experiment, or 4? We're 4 seasons in.
This is our 4th season, yeah.
This will be our 5th season, though.
4th.
Right, okay. This will be 4th season.
He went 6-7, 10-3, and then 6-7 again.
We had the Gabriel. That was 2023.
Oh, that was 10-3.
Okay. Yeah, now we're at 2024. You just went 6-7. Okay. Now that we're put up to speed there, do you think what's your record expectation? Obviously after he came 6-7, he went 10-3, and then he went 6-7 again. Do you think we're looking at the same expectations you kind of had when we first hired him? After the first year, do you think we're gonna pick up the speed and be able to potentially put ourselves in double-digit win conversations, or are we going to do the same? Would you label it as a disappointment if we did not get more than 10 wins?
I wouldn't label it a disappointment, but I guess I feel like I couldn't really. It would depend on what the losses would be. If we got 8 wins, but then there's 2 losses where did we really lose those? Then yeah, maybe. But I feel kind of what you're saying is that I feel like he needs at least 8 wins this season. At least. Because if we don't get 8 wins, I mean, it just seems like what us at Oklahoma are used to. If we go, so this would be, because if we went 10-3, then we 6-7. So I mean, if we would go 2 years in a row where we are barely making a bowl game, I mean, how do you keep that whenever we won however many Big 12 championships in a row making it all these conference chat. Like we're like doing all of this.
I guess what I was trying to say is like, I mean, this is onto another topic.
Okay.
So going off of the Big 12 championships, like, what legacy? Like, there's a legacy that has been left behind and that he's trying to follow. But do we think Venables is ever going to reach that? To the point where he's dominating the single conference going on. We've had maybe a couple college football playoffs the next couple 5 years that we make. Like, is that even possible? Is that on the table with Venables as the head coach?
I say yes, because he won 10 games his second year with basically a second-year coaching staff, a second-year team because of Lincoln leaving. So I feel like he's had time to rebuild it, and the coaching staff. And what was I trying to say? So now that he's had I forgot what I was gonna say.
That's fine. Now that he's had that
distracted.
experience with the 10-2 season,
yeah, I know. Like, we know he can do it.
Okay.
So I feel like with the same coaching staff he had last year, but it's not, I guess, because it's new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator.
That's another thing is that his staff has been changing every year.
Yeah.
Is that it's not really on him. It's like he hires guys and these guys are freaking amazing. Okay. Like Zach Alley, obviously youngest coordinator or one of the youngest defensive coordinators in college football right now. And I mean, he just went to Jacksonville State to be an actual full-time defensive coordinator, or no, sorry, West Virginia. Mm-hmm. My bad. So he's Venables did that. I'd say Venables did that because Alley, no one heard of Alley before that. Jacksonville State, he was lowly defense. I mean, Jacksonville State's defense was picking it up every single year, but he comes here and the defense excels. Obviously, that's part of Venables. So, my opinion on this Venables stuff is I feel like this is probably one of the best defensive coaches in college football, right? The issue is, we did bring in Ben Arbuckle. I don't know.
Yeah, what I was going to go at is that, I mean, we're talking a lot about the defensive side of things, where if I'm being 100% honest, the thing that I'm mostly worried about is the offensive side of the ball. Just because we've seen what we've been coming in on the defensive side, the guys that we've been getting, who we're still going to have going into the next season, and knowing what we can work with whenever we go there. I'm not too worried about that. Yeah, we have some new coaches coming in, but some of the new coaches that we have, they're just position coaches just trying to help our guys get better to make sure they are ready for the game time. But to me, how much, of course, if our offense comes in and they play absolute dog crap for whatever reason, then yeah, we're going to get on to it sucks, but then we're going to get on to our head coach, who is also our defensive coordinator. Hey, what are we doing? How are we in this position again where we're supposed to be this high-paced offensive program that goes and scores 40 points a game?
Yeah, I
don't think the defense will take much. It'll probably take a step down, but I don't think it'll be that big of a difference. And even if we do take a step down, we'll still be one of the greatest defenses in the country. I
think the step down is going to be just since some of the guys that were, I think it's just some of the turnovers that
the chemistry
the chemistry we had, the turnovers that we were able to get. I feel like that's what's going to be the step down, but I still think we're going to be that efficient.
The athletes
defensive
on the defense
group
are just going to.
They're going to make plays.
Yeah, I'd say it's kind of like Georgia. Obviously Georgia dominates defense every year, and then I feel like we could have one of these seasons this year where Georgia, you saw this year, offense was no receivers. I mean, it's kind of like us. No receivers. They had a half decent running back. I mean, running back room that they could rely on. Quarterback was you look at him and it's he could be okay, but he's god awful, right? So we're going to let him transfer after the season. And then their defense just completely kept them in the games.
That was the only reason.
I think 100%, 99% our offense takes a step up. because I don't even know if there is a way to take a step down from last year.
Yeah,
But I feel like if our offense is just Arbuckle gets this year's offense like just decent, like not like Baker, Kyler good, of course, but like just decent. I feel like we have a good chance to win 8 games. Our ceiling is 10. Our floor is 6. Our expectation is 8.
So yeah, if you look at the schedule, Illinois State,
Win.
we'll go off that. That's a win. Michigan, that's a toss-up, but I'd say it's a win. Okay. Temple, win.
Where's that game?
It's here.
That is a home game, Michigan.
Then I
Okay.
say yeah.
So Temple, that's a win. Then we have Auburn here. That might be difficult. That's going to be a Jackson Arnold revenge game.
That's going to be a Jackson
So
Arnold
that's a
revenge
win.
game.
Oh,
That is going to be a lot. Like, of course, like I mean,
if he starts.
I'm gonna like that would be 4 games into the season. We might need to switch something up.
You never know. Jackson
He
Arnold
might just retire with the NIL package that he got and just go live at home. Go live in the
might
basement or
have to at this
something.
point. No, he's going to be... They have to keep him there so he can hold the kicks. Like, come on, man.
You got to do something.
They're paying him like $3 million.
For 1 year, that is just crazy.
Oh, I guess it would be a couple. I mean, he's only a redshirt sophomore, right? So, anyways,
Oh,
so that's that. We would have 4 wins, I'd say. Okay, Kent State toss up 5. Texas 1 loss.
Yeah. Texas
Reasonable.
is too good. Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's a chance it's always.
OU Texas can go either way though.
OU
so-
Texas can either go either way.
But yeah.
Of course, it's kind of hard with OU Texas. I mean, of course, like I'm always going to say we're going to win.
Yeah.
Like that just is what it is. But I think if we're going to be a little bit reasonable, Texas, honestly, they're not losing that many people. They're getting a better quarterback.
Nah, we're
So
gonna
are
kill
we.
Arch. Arch going down.
I mean, I'm okay putting it in the win category because I'm always going to say that we're going to
So
win.
5-1 right now.
5-1 going through first 6 games of the season. Then we go on the road against South Carolina. That's a loss.
That's a loss.
Depending on how South Carolina looks through the first 6 games
But I
or
just
first 5.
If Sellers plays like he did towards the end of the season, then South
Sellers
Carolina is a
got
good.
wrapped.
They have they're a contender this next
Yeah.
year.
Sellers can run. We don't like that. that's another issue.
That's all-
That is
Unless you're
always,
Jalen Milroe.
that is always a thing. Oh yeah, except that game. That is always a thing. Is that rushing quarterbacks always find a way to be our kryptonite, except that Alabama game, and I will always hold that dear to my heart.
So
Yeah, that was
so
amazing.
5-2.
So 5-2. Then we go back home. We play Ole Miss. Is Dart entering the draft?
Yeah,
Anybody?
he is entering.
Okay,
Who?
so Dart.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
So,
he's
but
gone.
Ole Miss again, they have Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin brings in an insane
Yeah.
amount of talent every single year. I think that's going to be a toss-up, but I think we'll pull that out depending on how the Texas.
Yeah,
and
we
South
have no
Carolina
idea
game
how
go.
the first 7 games are going to go. So
If those 2 games go really bad, that's a guaranteed loss. If those go like it's close and we lose, like we could definitely beat Ole Miss. If we win, obviously we're beating Ole Miss. It's kind of like there's 3 different scenarios there. After that, next week we then go and play at Tennessee. They still have Nico. I mean, they bring back mainly everybody besides maybe their best.
they're running
yeah,
back.
They're
they're
running
running back.
But at the same time, Tennessee's a running back machine. So like
I think
somebody's
they'll
going to
be-
come out.
Someone's
and-
gonna come in and
So 7-3, right?
I mean, but at the same time, I think
think
there's
it's-
still a chance.
Yeah, but
Depending
I just-
again, depending on how we play. But right now, we'll call it a loss. 7-3.
injuries. I mean, of course, because like in our head, since of course we haven't seen this team play at all, we're still kind of going off of in our head like our defense is the one holding us control, and
our
that
offense
our
takes a
offense
step
is
up.
just
John Mateer.
somehow Michael Hawkins run the ball. Like thinking about this season because we haven't seen anything from.
And obviously, we get a bunch of new people. Michael Fasusi comes in, number 1 offensive tackle in the class of 2025. Thank the Lord, beat him, Bo. But and then we also, I think we got Michael Hawkins' brothers
Yeah.
on defense at safety. So I mean,
What number is he? What is he?
It's like 37.
It was like 30. It was like some. It was like what his dad wore, I think.
But then Hawkins
and then Hawkins changed the 3.
3, yeah.
okay, that's reasonable.
I finally saw what Kanik changed. Dude, he changed to 12.
Really?
Dude, I can't.
7
I
looks
can't.
good on him though.
We need to get Kanik on here somehow, some way.
Darren Kanik, if you are watching
all I
this.
do is scroll through Twitter, and it's just him posting the most random stuff on Twitter.
This guy, I mean,
He took a picture of the Bazell library. That's the OU library, of course. and right just in this open area, and it said this would be a nice area to put a casino. Like that's
Dude,
that's the most Oklahoma thing ever.
Bro
but
has CTE without having CTE. Like
and then how I knew that he changed his number to 12 is that there was a picture of him in the locker room with him holding the jersey, but his arm was like 5 times longer. He just like edited it where his arm just kept getting longer, and like someone in the comment said like go gadget, change your number or something like that. I was like, what is happening?
Well, anyways, we go from Tennessee with Kanik. Kanik has 5 fumble recoveries, and we go and play Alabama at Alabama. You can't win in Alabama unless you're Vanderbilt, so I'm taking that as a loss.
It's gonna be a revenge game for them.
So 7-4, Missouri
Yes.
at home here.
Yep.
That's a dub. I
Yep.
mean, there's no way Missouri comes to
8-4.
where they were this entire year. Like, come on.
I don't think so.
And 4 with 4 of the games being toss-ups, I would say.
Yeah, and then we go and play LSU. They play here. I think we win that. I think LSU has lost some guys. I mean,
of course they bring back their quarterback.
Their quarterback's gonna be pretty good.
But I mean, their star wide receiver,
Kyron Lacey.
he's not.
He went to the draft and then shot somebody up. So,
So
Stuff
AKA
happens.
no more football.
So I think we realistically in like
9 wins.
9-3.
Like without of course seeing a single
9-4.
thing,
Sorry.
without seeing anything, kind of thinking about just how the season goes, without really like anything like that. I'd say that is a reasonable. But of course, like what we're saying, like Tennessee, because I think did we count Tennessee as a loss?
Yeah.
Tennessee, I think can be a toss up depending on how it is. Texas, I mean, they're kind of changing a lot of things on their offensive side, and that's
And it's
usually
just
what keeps
always
them
a
in.
toss-up.
It's always going to be a
And
toss up with
Alabama.
that. And then Alabama. I mean,
And depending how the rest of the SEC goes, 9-3 can, especially being in the SEC with 12 teams, can get you in the playoffs. So it'd be tough, depending how the rest of the SEC goes, but it's a possibility.
As long as they're like big.
I
wins.
am excited. I am excited to watch when we go against Michigan
Oh yeah.
because of
fun
the
game to
quarterback
go to.
because of the quarterback that they brought in.
Oh yeah, he's good.
Because
Oh yeah, Bryce Underwood.
Bryce Underwood.
Do you think he's gonna start though?
I think so.
I mean, if you pay him $10.5 million, like that, I mean, like Dave
They did get
Portnoy
rid of
and like
Orgy,
5 or
too,
6
so-
guys,
They pushed everybody
Orgy's
out.
gone, and I mean, the amount of money that they piled together to give to this kid so that he could stay and go to school there.
He almost went to
I mean,
LSU, but keep going.
I mean, like, why would they not start him unless they literally think that he is just about to be terrible?
Yeah, and did Michigan
some reason,
fire
but-
their head coach? No.
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 Well, speaking of firing head coaches,
So we're gonna talk about the Dallas Cowboys, and if you all don't know this, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, so
I think you said this in the first episode too.
yeah, I think so. Sadly, so recently they fired Mike McCarthy, which I think is a good fire.
Well, you let him walk though, right?
Walk, yeah, they couldn't agree on a deal or something. But
I'd say there's
I don't
one
mind
thing that you guys should have done. That there is someone in that time that needs to be fired, but he's kind of been. I think he's the general manager. I think was his like Jerry
Jones.
Stupid Head,
Jerry
that guy.
Jones.
This is the most depressing segment.
And so they hired.
How does that dude own a football team?
I don't know,
Okay, I'm sorry.
but they hired Brian Schuttenheimer.
What? Shooting who?
Schuttenheimer as the new head coach. As the new head coach, he was the offensive coordinator last year with a bottom offense. It was like the 28th.
But you also had Cooper Rush.
We had injuries, Cooper Rush, but also if you look at his last, he was the Jaguars offensive coordinator, and then he was the passing coordinator for I think it was the Giants. Dead last for both. Dead last. Oh yeah, let's hire him for head coach.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure those teams were terrible.
Not sure. I'm pretty sure one had a number one
and
overall
one
pick
has
too.
one has
But you guys have Dak Prescott,
and one
on
has
a $200
Trevor
million.
Lawrence. One has Trevor
contract.
Lawrence, and he's like, "Yep, let's just get the worst offense possible."
Reasonable with the Giants, but at the same time,
Yeah, well, yeah.
like, what are you supposed to do as the passing game coordinator with Daniel Jones at
yeah.
quarterback?
But Jaguars not reasonable. Like at least have second to last, not dead last. And so, yeah. So I don't think the offense will make a big jump this year. I think it'll be the
Who would
same
you hire
offense
as
as
the
last
offensive
year, and
coordinator?
we have our starting quarterback back.
You guys just need to somehow get Ashton Genty, and then you guys will just.
Nah, Rico Dowdle. They're gonna draft some white dude.
Okay, and then yeah, probably. Cowboys hired Clayton Adams as offensive coordinator. He was the offensive line Cardinals. He was the offensive line coach for the Cardinals last year.
Had
And
one of
have
the
you
worst
ever heard of
offensive
him?
lines.
Nope.
I'm sorry, you guys hired as your offensive coordinator a offensive line coach?
Yep. And so with a head coach that has the worst offense history probably in the last couple of years, and a guy that was a offensive line coach, we might not score next year.
Well, at least you got somewhat of a known name.
Okay, so Cowboys hired Matt. I don't know. How do you say his last name?
Eberflus.
I think it's like Eberflus.
Eberflus.
Something like that.
Eberflus as defensive coordinator, which in the past he's been a decent defensive coordinator. He did just get fired from the Bears as the head coach. Hopefully he brings his time out.
you guys
with
are
him.
just bringing every crappy person. Hey,
Hey, you don't know how to use a
come to the
timeout.
star.
He
Come
was-
to the star.
He was a assistant defense coordinator for the Cowboys 5 or 6 years
Yeah.
ago, 7 years ago, and
Something
he
like
did
that.
he did do decent.
Like, I mean-
so it's not a bad hire. Our defense,
I don't think
At
it's
least
bad.
he's-
I just don't think I don't think they put him in a bad position at being a head coach. I don't think he's really a head coach.
so as a defense coordinator, and the Cowboys have
I'd
had
say that
decent
is the best
defensive-
hire that
yeah.
you guys have made.
Our defense
Out
has
of
been
the hires.
decent in the last 5 years. It's kind of fallen off the last 2 years, but it's been good. So I feel like he can bring our defense up, but with how bad our offense is going to be, I'm going to tell you it's going to be bad. I'm not going to predict it's bad. I know it's going to be bad. So I don't care how good I don't care if we have the number one defense. We're not going to. We might win 2 games. So
But you guys have
Everybody on 3. 1, 2, 3. Tank for Arch.
I mean, that's what are they tanking though? They have to be, right?
If they don't win more than 3 games next year, they're
I'm sorry.
tanking.
I mean, if you hire a bunch of nobodies and then they don't tank, I would be surprised if I'm being
That's
100%
the
honest.
most Dallas Cowboys thing ever, though. We're gonna. Well, I mean, what do you say? I mean,
It also doesn't help that there are multiple black head coaches out there, black coordinators in the NFL that could potentially you could have hired. Brian Flores, for example, one of the best defense, had a top 5 defense the past 5 years. Okay, Jerry Jones has never hired a black head coach. This is the most racist general manager in all of sports, dude.
he has said stuff in the past about him being racist too, so it's not that big of a surprise, really, for him to not hire.
Speaking of racist, let's go to Taylor Swift and the Eagles and the Chiefs. How about that?
Right.
What do we got thoughts here? We got the Super Bowl this weekend.
Jalen Hurts is rushing for 5 billion yards for 7 tush-push touchdowns as well to absolutely butt crack.
Tim, I want you to edit over after this episode comes out on Tuesday, when you're done editing on Sunday, when Jalen Hurts probably runs for that exact amount. And I want the clown music running, and I want to say that did not happen.
Yep.
Okay. Anyways, as he was talking about Jalen
Who do
Hurts,
you guys want to win?
the nuke.
I say the Chiefs.
Just for the three-peat?
Yeah, and also I'm a Cowboys fan, so I just hate the Eagles.
That's fair.
But also, I want Jalen Hurts to win it, but not the Eagles, if that's possible.
I'm pretty sure that's physically impossible. But
I know, but
So,
I mean, see, for me, if I'm being unbiased, if I'm I'm okay with whoever wins here. If I'm being 100% honest,
whoever you bet on. Let's
Some-
hear your betting picks.
My
New
betting
segment.
picks?
Betting picks with Landen.
betting picks with Landen. The only one I got is that free pick. Is that it's 0.5 yards to over for passing yards. Other than that, don't trust me at all. You will lose your house mortgage. You will lose everything because I have. Anyway.
Even nope, not gonna say that. Keep going.
I don't know
was
what
about
you're
to
going to
say.
say, but whatever. But either way, I'd say this is going to be a win-win situation for whoever I choose to win. Just because, I don't care who wins here. It's going to be cool if there's a three-peat because it's never been done before. But then at the same time, I would like the Eagles to win because I like Saquon Barkley and I like Jalen Hurts, and I would like them to win one.
it's just something different.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs.
And
Something
that's very
different.
true. But
Or they could just nuke the entire city.
what is up with you and nuking right now?
Because I hate both teams. I think
That's
that's
fair.
pretty reasonable.
I have a Chiefs friend, and he was like, "Do you hate the Chiefs because they're so good?" Yes, that is exactly why. I am that type of fan where I just hate teams that are good. Hated the Patriots. Now I hate the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I do not care. I just don't like teams when they're good because I'm jealous.
Jealous of good teams.
25 years.
Well, I'm gonna Chiefs Eagles score. I'm gonna go 0-0, and the whole nation gets nuked.
What did Lord have mercy? Not even just New Orleans, the whole nation.
Yes.
Like all of.
Actually, a bomb that only kills
I want there to be like no defense played in this game. Like I want it to be like
49,000.
okay. Well, I was gonna go like 45 to like 30 something.
I got 30-29 Eagles.
I want it to be exactly like the first. Whenever they played last, what was it? Was
But the
it
opposite?
2 years ago?
Yeah.
But the Eagles win.
I want 3-0 Eagles.
All right, I think we'll end it there.
Yeah. So everyone loves this part of the podcast.
We all know we all know this part.
Gonna touch the mic, Tim. I'm sorry. This has been the Pawns on the Duck podcast. Look for a pretty big episode coming in the next couple of weeks. We've got some athletes that are going to be coming on from the University of Oklahoma. Shout out if they did watch this and somehow got to this part of the episode. But yippee! We've got Instagram. You've heard all of it. At Pawns on the Duck podcast. Usually posting on YouTube, mainly TikTok. Spotify's there if you're a listener, like
Just to listen. Like if
Just
you're
to listen.
driving
There
or
you go.
something.
Sorry,
Do not
that
watch-
You said verbal.
verbal. That was
do not
completely.
watch this while you're driving.
You can watch on Spotify.
Oh, you can't watch on Spotify?
Nobody's going to want to watch on Spotify. There's Instagram. We've got Reels. We post every time we come out with an episode. Sometimes we post Reels.
Leading up to
There's our
episodes and
ads
stuff.
right there. Mainly Timothy Finicaro and Landen Root. Those are the main two that you got to go for. It's been a fun episode. And I guess we'll see you guys next week. Peace out.